Donald Trump will soon be back in the White House, and he's promising to keep one of his key campaign promises of curbing illegal immigration. Now, what does this mean for Jamaicans and other Caribbean nationals who are undocumented and living in the United States?
Use all necessary state, local, federal, and military resources to carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing fine. Now, the China versus US war to control the Caribbean is getting big and messy because we've seen Caribbean leaders coming out to defend the Chinese projects in their own countries. And Donald Trump is not loving it. And this is going to affect Black Jamaicans and Caribbeans living in the US. They are now facing deportation in the next few days. So let's watch this video, then have a quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
President-elect of the United States, Donald Trump, speaking on the campaign trail in 2024. Mr. Trump's determination to deal with illegal immigration is not new. In 2016, he proclaimed that he would deport 11 million undocumented migrants if he became president.
We are going to end catch and release. We catch them, oh, go ahead. We catch them, go ahead. Under my administration, anyone who illegally crosses the border will be detained until they are removed out of our country and back to the country from which they came.
According to USA Facts, the US reported nearly 11 million unauthorized border encounters between October 2019 and June 2024. Monthly encounters peaked with over 370,000 people in December 2023. That month, Customs and Border Protection encountered nearly 12,000 people at the border every day. That's more than 8 people every minute. But Donald Trump's plan to deport 11 million migrants during his first term in office did not materialize. He has issues with both legal and illegal migrants. According to the Cato Institute, Mr. Trump entered the White House with the goal of reducing legal immigration by 63% during his first term as president. The Trump administration did reduce legal migration by 49%. Thus, in his first term, President Trump succeeded in reducing legal immigration, but did not have much success with illegal immigration. The American voters have now given him another chance. Now, Mr. Trump is promising a mass deportation policy on day one of his administration, targeting millions of immigrants and their families. The plan involves expanding deportation operations, detaining individuals in massive camps, and attacking birthright citizenship and asylum protection systems. But what is one of the reasons for this mass deportation?
Today our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken. By the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens.
With only 12 days left before Donald Trump takes office as the 47th US president, a caravan of migrants is now making its way to the US border. NBC News reported that the caravan has now grown to about 7,500 people from 24 different countries.
I think it will be much more complicated now, says this man who's traveling from Venezuela. Now we are thinking about finding a way to get through before Trump takes the presidency. DHS officials telling NBC News that they have not yet seen a surge in migrants heading to the United States, but that they want CBP and ICE officials to be prepared.
An organizer of the migrant caravan told NBC News that the migrants are from Central America, Cuba, Venezuela, and Haiti. But some come from as far as Turkey, Iran, Syria, and Cameroon. There are no reports so far of Jamaicans being involved. However, Jamaicans have been using Mexico, Panama, and Belize as ports of entry to illegally enter the United States. Jamaicans reportedly buy passage into the US through Mexico for as much as $3,000 or approximately 465,000 Jamaican dollars. A 2000 study conducted by the National Foreign Assessment Center said the English-speaking Caribbean supplies 60% of illegal migrants from the region. The Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency reports that 143 Jamaicans were refused entry into Mexico between 2018 and March 31, 2023. For the same period, just over 2,000 Jamaicans were refused entry into Panama and 81 Jamaicans were deported from the country. Reporting for All Angles, I'm Cameron White.
Thank you so much for that, Kemon. And just to remind you who we have with us, everybody's by Zoom today. So we have joining us from Florida, Latoya Harridan Lodge. She's an attorney at law. Joining us from Kingston, we have Dr. Natalie Dietrich Jones, research fellow at the Sir Arthur Lewis Institute of Social and Economic Studies at the UA. Jason Walker, a radio host and president of Caribbean Georgia Votes, and Erwin Clare, Managing Director of Caribbean Immigrant Services, which is based in New York. And I want to just go around the room very quickly, quote unquote, and ask your reaction to what we've all been hearing from Mr. Trump. And Jason Walker, let me start with you.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Jamaica. Good evening, Dion. Thank you very much for having me on your show, one of my favorite shows. My reaction to this is one of extreme concern. There are families that are, I know families that are terrified of this. He's speaking of enhancing enforcement of immigrants. He's speaking of denaturalization of those who are citizens from the perspective that the process of how people became citizens was flawed and possibly legal. He is speaking of enhancing stop and frisk, which is a problem for people who are black and of the darker hue. And so therefore, combine that with the immigration search, you know what that's going to do. I have always been legal in this country. But there was a moment when I was stopped by the police and because they heard my accent, he immediately put me in a deportation situation. Fortunately, because I am a media person, people found out about it, and I was able to be put out of the situation. Flash forward to now, when you have the federal institution coming after immigrants in this way. Can you imagine, in stop and frisk, police officers who don't even want to really check who you are, and you don't have your papers on you, quote unquote papers on you? Yeah, and you better believe it's the dark immigrants that are going to be approached first.
All right, hold that thought for me. Lots in there I want to get into, but let me go to some of the others for their quick initial comments. Latoya Harridan Lodge, your thoughts on what's been happening, what's been said.
Good evening, Dion. Thank you for having me tonight. My initial thoughts are, his first priority when he was in office for the first term was building a wall. Right, that was his main focus, is we need to build a wall. It is very clear that in his second term, he's focused on mass deportation. He's focused on the removal of undocumented persons who are currently in the interior. So we're looking at two separate things, two separate ideas. At first, we're trying to stop who's coming over. But right now we're trying to get rid of who's already here. And that is the part that is concerning, especially when we're talking about ending birthright citizenship, denaturalization, and militarizing a number of different units to get to have this happen. So that is the initially most concerning part.
And for you, Erwin Clare.
Good evening, Dion, to the rest of Jamaica. And a great way to start up 2025, you might ask, tongue-in-cheek. And ditto to all that has been said before. And I'd just like to use my opening
talking point. Romardo Lyons has our story.
If Trump is in power again, there's going to be a lot of craziness. It's going to be a circus, but not a good kind. Not a good kind. And we can only hope that doesn't happen again.
But it has. Donald Trump heads to the White House once again.
Frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country, and maybe beyond.
Jamaican teacher Philippa Harley, who entered the country through legal channels, did this interview with TVJ News in New York back in September, 2 months before the elections. Even with her legal status, this was her concern.
My issue with that is that he wouldn't be differentiating in the immigrants that he's referring to, legal or illegal. You know, he's just going to make a sweeping change.
At that time, she said several Jamaicans were saying Mr. Trump would have been their pick.
For the Jamaicans that I've spoken to, most of them want to vote for Trump because they say, most of the males want to vote for Trump because they say that they're able to make more money when he's in power, which is really weird for me because to me there's no huge difference.
Now, after the results, I spoke with several Jamaicans in America who said they gave Kamala Harris their vote.
For me personally and my family, we just have to watch, wait, and continue pushing for progress. When I saw the numbers last night, shocked, turn the television off because that could not be true, could not be happening.
I did support her. She did her best. Unfortunately, I don't know if everybody went in and voted.
While campaigning, Trump promised the biggest mass deportation of undocumented migrants in U.S. history.
That is a tough one. For all the things and what you have said and what you have said he's gonna do as for immigrants and everything, I don't even know how to answer that.
I posed this question to Erwin Clare, managing director of the New York-based Caribbean Migrant Services, early October.
Since the campaigning would have started, a lot of talk is being made about immigrants.
Yes.
Would you say that Jamaicans living in the U.S. now should be worried?
His response?
If you think Project 25 is a reality, then yes, you should be.
Mr. Clare said he believed most Jamaicans have secured themselves in a position where there is recourse.
When I say recourse, I mean opportunities for them to do different things. But in general, we are not unlike any other immigrant group in this country that are concerned about some of the wordings of some of those persons who aspire for a higher office.
Black immigrants and all African Americans and Black Americans have been having questions about the deportation claims by Donald Trump. And he has promised that he's going to carry out the largest mass deportation in the history of the US. Now, many people are talking about this and they're asking themselves, we are just having some days or a week or so to the next inauguration of Donald Trump. And what does this mean to Black Jamaicans, and what does this mean to all other people, all those who voted for him? Now, we've seen Donald Trump having the China versus US war, where he wants the allies that have been on the US side for the longest time to still remain on the US side, and that China should not interfere or meddle in the affairs of the allies of the US, that in the Caribbean, he has assured the Caribbean leaders, he had a meeting with them and assured them that the US is going actually to oversee the projects and maybe make some good infrastructure and in return do business with the Caribbean countries. But we've seen the reaction from the Caribbean prime ministers. We've seen the reaction from the Caribbean leaders. Now, one of the most vocal leaders in the Caribbean, Mia Mottley, the prime minister of Barbados, the other week said that China, just like any other power in the world, is free to do business with the Caribbean countries, and no one should scrutinize or no one should actually tell the Caribbean leaders or the Caribbean countries on who to align with. Now, the same happened to the Jamaican Prime Minister. He said that he is free to work with both China and the US, but this seems not to be sitting well with Donald Trump. And for these reasons, some media houses says that Jamaica will be on the peripheries. that they will be at risk of being deported because like Donald Trump, the president of the US, is not happy anymore with how the Caribbean leaders are responding to the China versus US war in the Caribbean. Now, I will really want to discuss with you, not from my own sources, but from the mainstream media in the US. And they have a couple of things to say about whatever is going on, that focusing on the merit, and that the US is not going to work with maybe the Caribbean countries as it was back then when during the first term of Donald Trump. Then this puts at risk because most Caribbean countries supported the candidacy of one and only yes, it supported the candidacy of Democrats, leaving aside people like Donald Trump. And for this, Kamala Harris enjoyed their support. And for her being a Jamaican, and so there is that support she was getting. She was enjoying from the Caribbean. We see some days back, she had talked to the Caribbean leader. She met with a Jamaican leader. And they were talking actually, and they were discussing how they will actually maybe do business the more when she comes to power, and how the Biden administration is actually very eager and is very keen on following the matters and infrastructure levels in Jamaica and the Caribbean. So for these reasons, the mainstream media in the US feels like Jamaicans will be on the edge, and many other Caribbeans and black people, because as a matter of fact, many black people, if I talk of them being led by Martin Rowland, or against the candidature of one and only Donald Trump, and they focused on Kamala Harris. And some people feel like Donald Trump really lives in vengeance, and he might come to haunt them in a way or the other. But let's really read whatever they had to say about this. And according to the mainstream media, they think that the increased deportation and detention of so many Jamaicans that happened in the past, you can remember 3 years back, 2 to 3 years back, after the COVID, so many Jamaicans were deported from the US and UK. It is in the news. You can go Google and you can go search from YouTube. You can see videos where so many Jamaicans and Caribbeans were deported back to their countries. And some were saying they were born in the UK, they were born in the US, they have been raised there the whole of their life. They know any other person, but still they were able to be deported. So this actually raises an alarm, like what is really not going to happen? That is Donald Trump really going maybe to focus on delivering or focus on vengeance? And apart from that, we have so many other things like the public charge role, where the public feels like, no, we have had black people in our country, like they're taking our jobs, and we cannot go to maybe apply for a job, maybe in a restaurant, or to apply for a job in an office, because a lot of foreigners are in our country who are looking for greener pastures. And there is need that we reduce them so that the locals of this country can have some jobs. And the mainstream media argues out that the Trump's administration is so keen on redefining the public opinion on its own policies. And for this, they might want to listen to the people. And the majority of the people do not side with immigrants. And for this case, I do believe that even the legal immigrants will be affected. Trust me not. That when illegal immigrants are being ferried back to their countries, that these genuine and legitimate immigrants to the US are going to be psychologically affected, and some of them will face discrimination at work. They will face abuse, believe me, and some of them will volunteer to leave the country, or they will be forced to volunteer to leave the country because the Donald Trump administration is so keen on engaging the public on its policies. And anytime, for example, in Africa, when South Africa decided, the South African government decided to engage the public views on immigrants who live in that country, those who are seeking asylum and any other immigrants. We saw a lot of immigrants being deported back to Nigeria, being deported back to Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and so many other countries that that are borders and neighbors of South Africa, because the public were like, no, there is a lot of crime in our country. There is a lot of joblessness in our country. There is a lot of orderless. There is no order in our country. So for this to end, we must deport these people who have invaded our country. And for that reason, the government had no any other option because it was seeking public mandate. So it had only one choice: to deport, deport, and deport. And for these reasons, we saw South Africa being affected with some of the diplomatic issues that were happening by that time. And we really don't want to see that still going on, because the stability of the US as a superpower is very, very needed, is much needed in the world, because when the US is facing maybe economic disparities, economic deportations, and so many other things, the world at large is being affected. And many African countries, like my country, the dollar power has so much to say to the economy. So when there is a problem with the economy of the US, you actually expect things not to be so much good in Africa as compared to many other countries. And just to summarize this very long list from the mainstream media, they say that expansion of the ICE and the border enforcement, and revocation of temporary protected status. And in this case, you are going to realize that many Jamaican nationals in the US live under temporary protected status, TPS, and in which grants them protection from deportation due to crisis in their home countries. Trump's administration has sought to end TPS for several countries, and if this continues post 2024, and in which we are in 2025, those with TPS status could face deportation if protections are removed by then administration led by Donald Trump. Now, there is a lot that can be said in this, but I just hope that he's going to be so merciful and he's not going to affect so many families. I know there is need to have order in the US. There is need to protect the people and the integrity of the United States and its people. But there is also need to protect human rights and to obey them at the same time. There is need. And in the United Nations Charter of Human Rights, and there is a section of where as a state, you are not supposed to deport a person seeking asylum from a politically unstable country. So there is so much that can be said, and I just wish maybe the Congress will actually talk through this, and they will actually maybe moderate how it is going to be done, or put it in a very orderly manner that not just everyone is picked and deported. Thank you so much for having taken your time to watch this video. This is Eli from Africa. I appreciate so much, brothers and sisters. If it's the first time, please consider to subscribe to the channel and like, share, the comment. Thank you so much.